I wish your identity hadn't been revealed, my mother said gratefully. There was silence as I tried to hold back my tears, but what I did stunned everyone at the table. My mother's stern words, her gratitude. The candlelight flickered across the long dining table, shadows crawling up the walls of the Turner Estates dining hall. Silver cutlery clinked faintly, porcelain plates gleamed, and the roasted chicken in the center of the table remained barely touched. On any other evening, this scene might have resembled elegance, refinement, control. But tonight, all of it was staged over a silence so thick it threatened to suffocate me. My mother sat at the head of the table, her spine as rigid as the carved oak chair she occupied. She had the kind of posture that demanded respect or obedience. My father, opposite her, swirled his wine glass with the practiced indifference of a man who had perfected the art of ignoring storms until they passed. My younger brother, Ethan, slouched halfway down his seat, eyes glued to the glow of his phone, thumbs moving with careless rhythm. For a moment, I thought the silence would stretch forever. Then my mother spoke. "I wish your identity hadn't been revealed," she whispered. Her tone carried both gratitude and regret, like a confession laced with venom. The words struck me harder than I expected. My fork froze midair. My lungs tightened, as though I had been caught doing something shameful when all I'd done was exist. Heat pooled in my chest, threatening to spill as tears, but I swallowed them down. She didn't deserve to see me break. The truth was out, and there was no turning back. For 23 years, I had lived as Anna Carter, their daughter. I had believed this house was mine, this family was mine, that their love, cold and fractured as it often was, belonged to me. But just last week, while cleaning the attic, I had stumbled upon a chest tucked away beneath moth-eaten blankets. Inside, a faded birth certificate, brittle adoption papers, and letters sealed in envelopes addressed to a name I had never heard before. My real name. Lila Hart. The syllables still felt foreign on my tongue, sharp-edged and dangerous. The revelation had shattered me. I wasn't their blood. I wasn't even a Carter. I was something else entirely. Someone else. And now my mother's words made it clear. She didn't just regret the discovery. She regretted me. The silence swelled until I thought I might choke on it. Finally, Ethan's eyes flicked up from his phone, a faint crease of confusion etching across his brow. My father cleared his throat as if to disperse the tension with the sound alone, but it was too late. The crack had already spread. "You're ashamed of me," I said softly. My voice trembled, but beneath it was a blade honed by years of being overlooked, dismissed, and tolerated. My mother's reply was swift, too swift. No, but her eyes betrayed her. They were guarded, cold, like doors slammed shut. "It's just better for the family if certain things remain unspoken," she added, her words clipped, rehearsed. The family. That phrase again. It was always about the family, their reputation, their legacy, their precious image. I was beginning to realize that somewhere in all their calculations, I had never been more than a piece on their chessboard. The air buzzed in my ears. My pulse thundered. Something inside me snapped. Before I could second-guess myself, I stood abruptly, my chair scraping against the marble floor. My father flinched. Ethan blinked, startled. My mother's expression sharpened into warning. But I didn't sit back down. With hands trembling, I reached into my bag, fingers closing around the envelope I had carried for days, the one I hadn't dared to open. The paper felt heavy, as though it carried not just words but centuries of secrets. Slowly, deliberately, I placed it in the center of the table. The family's eyes snapped toward it. The handwriting on the front was unmistakable, delicate yet firm. To Lila, from your mother. Not the woman sitting at the head of the table. My real mother. Gasps cracked the silence. Ethan's chair screeched backward as he pushed away from the table, his face pale, his phone forgotten in his lap. My father's knuckles whitened around his glass of wine, the liquid sloshing dangerously close to the rim. And my mother, Margaret Carter, the woman who had raised me, parted her lips, then pressed them into a hard, thin line as though sealing away every thought she dared not let escape. "This," I whispered. My gaze locked on the envelope. "This is the truth you've hidden from me, the truth you've kept buried all these years." My voice shook, but there was steel beneath it now. "I'm done pretending." The envelope sat there like a live bomb, daring someone, anyone, to open it. The candlelight danced across its surface, shadows flickering like restless spirits. No one moved. No one spoke. In that moment, I realized something terrifying. It wasn't just my identity they were afraid of. It was the letter itself. Whatever lay inside it had the power to unravel more than my life. It could destroy theirs. And as I sat back down slowly, folding my arms across my chest, I knew one thing with chilling certainty. This was only the beginning. The storm outside rattled the tall windows of the dining room. Lightning carving fleeting scars of light across the walls. Rain hammered the glass like a warning drumbeat. Yet no sound was louder than the silence around the table. The envelope sat there, fragile and ominous, daring someone to touch it. Finally, I did. My fingers trembled as I tore it open, the paper slicing like a wound beneath my skin. The letter slid free, brittle but intact, the faded ink still alive with secrets. My breath caught as I unfolded it and read aloud. "My dearest Lila, if you're reading this, then the truth has found its way to you. I never wanted to leave you, but danger followed me. To protect you, I entrusted you to a family that could keep you safe. But know this, you are not abandoned. You are the heir to something far greater than you know." My pulse thundered. The words blurred through the heat in my eyes, but I forced myself to continue. "There are people who will come for you when they learn your name. Trust no one, not even those closest to you, until you uncover the truth behind the Hart legacy." The Hart legacy. My legacy. The room swayed, my vision tunneling. I looked up breathless and saw the truth in their faces, my so-called family staring at me as though I were a stranger who had wandered in from the storm. "Maybe I always had been. What is this?" Ethan whispered, his phone slipping from his grip and clattering against the marble floor. His wide eyes searched mine, desperate for an answer I didn't have. My father pressed his palms over his face, groaning softly like a man carrying a secret for too long. And then my mother's voice cut through the air, sharp and brittle like shattering glass. "Enough! Burn it, forget it. You are Anna, not this fantasy." But her eyes betrayed her. Beneath the steel was fear, real, visceral fear. She knew. She had always known. "You lied to me," I said, my voice rising despite the lump in my throat. "You lied about who I am, about what I am. And now you expect me to bury it again? No, I won't." Ethan's face went pale. He leaned forward, his voice trembling. "Mom, Dad, is it true? Is Anna or Lila not really—" "Don't call her that name," my mother snapped, her hand slamming the table. The thunder outside seemed to crack in agreement, the room flashing white for a heartbeat. The silence after was suffocating. And then I noticed it. The letter wasn't just one page. Another sheet was folded tight, hidden within. With shaking hands, I pulled it free and unfolded it. "If you are in danger, there is one person you can trust. Marcus Hale. He knows the truth, and he will protect you. But beware, someone within your family may already be working against you." The blood drained from my face. The words blurred again, but this time from shock, not tears. Someone within my family. Slowly, my gaze swept across the table. My mother's rigid posture, her lips drawn tight. My father's haunted silence. Ethan's pale, frightened face. One of them had been lying to me, not just to hide the adoption, but to keep me from something bigger, something dangerous. The shadows in the room seemed to stretch, curling along the walls like watchful eyes. I folded the letter carefully and slipped it back into its envelope. My hands had stopped shaking. The fear was gone. In its place was something else, resolve. "I'll find out what this means," I said, standing tall. My chair scraped against the marble like a final note of defiance. My voice was steady now, sharpened into steel. "And when I do, I'll know who to trust. And who to fear." I turned away, the storm's howl beckoning me through the hallway. "Anna!" My mother's voice cracked, chasing after me, trembling with fury, and something darker. "You don't know what you're walking into, Lila. Some truths should never be unearthed." Her words clung to me like a curse. But the decision had already been made, because it was too late. The truth was no longer buried, and neither was I.